Well, you're hearing it from our listeners, or the listeners that are able to call in. They've got a lot of horror stories from the police, but they still want to try to work it out and fix things. I personally have had pretty much nothing but good experiences with the Austin police, except for one time when they tried to violate my First Amendment. This is like 8-9 years ago when I was protesting Governor Perry. They were getting riot police ready. We were peacefully protesting. They'd already lost a whole bunch of lawsuits. And I kind of blew up at them. The video's online. They were very restrained, but it didn't, I mean, I got mad. They're like saying, no, you have no First Amendment. And I just was yelling at this cop because he had come over. The Statesman was doing an article. San Antonio newspaper was doing an article, following me around. So there were two reporters there. And the cop came over and he said, yeah, you can protest. And they came over like an hour later and said, I never said you could protest, right in front of the newspaper, even though they had heard him and written it down. And I just blew up. I said, man, you are a liar. And I think that's what makes people more mad than anything is the lying. And the fact that so many departments train police how to lie on the stand. That's come out. But I, just like the fact that I've been attacked by groups of rednecks, I don't look at somebody wearing a cowboy hat and think they're going to attack me, or I've been attacked by black folks who are racist. I don't look at black people and say, oh, they're black, so they're going to attack me. I don't look at cops and think because I've been around bad cops, they're all bad. I'm trying to change the culture. I'm trying to wake them up. I'm trying to actually reach out and have serious discussions that have an effect instead of just causing more division. The globalists have set up their police state. They've militarized them. Now they want us to have a war with each other. You could say at some levels, hey, you guys are all dressed up, ready for war. Okay, you're going to get one. But that plays into the George Soros's hands. The Democratic Party is financing these rabble-rousers and provocateurs and destabilizers, and then making them heroes on the news when they demonize legitimate demonstrations and free speech. I mean, this is a very clear program that's taking place. There's not a doubt in my mind that I'm right about this. So I'm asking listeners, do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? We could have your bad cop stories all day, and that's fine. I could play videos every day of police doing absolutely horrible things and covering it up. I could also play video every day of police doing heroic, good things and doing the right thing. We try to have a balance of it all because here's the deal. I don't want to just play in to the paradigm. There's another reason dinosaur media has jumped on the hate the police bandwagon. That's because their ratings are flagging. And they know it's popular to bash the police. Just mindlessly. But what police are you talking about? The feds? Who are the minders over the local police in their minds? When the feds get away with executing people in cold blood, when they're handcuffed and don't get in trouble, burning down the Waco Branch Davidians, killing the kids, and I don't want to just sit here and out of hand demonize the FBI either. Because that plays into this whole mentality of, well, we're being attacked, so we might as well just circle the ranks and do whatever the brass says when the brass are the bad guys. Doesn't mean all the brass are bad guys, but when you get into the feds, I mean, the attorney general is super evil and has been caught in multiple false flags and persecuting gun owners, veterans, and Christians with the IRS and hadn't gotten in trouble. When Joe Stack flew his airplane into the IRS building and killed 2 IRS employees, even though the IRS is unconstitutional, abuses people, it's extrajudicial, I don't wish them any harm physically. But my goodness, the IRS director, all of them came for the press conference to grandstand and look like victims. Aren't they really the people that run the criminal show, but not even them. Above them, I mean, do you know it's the private Federal Reserve that gets all that money? See, I want to repeal the Federal Reserve, and we're very close to it. And I want to win the war intellectually. And we are starting to win. That's why they're going to start a race war and a war with the police so they can say, oh, we can't allow demonstrations anymore. Look what it did in 2015, 2014. Oh, we can't allow. I mean, the media already tries every day, multiple times a week, to tie Alex Jones and Infowars.com to violence when we're the opposite. The Liberty Movement's being demonized right now by Time Magazine, saying right-wing militias are the real threat to cops. Daily Caller. The secret world of extremist militias. And you go into these reports, guess who's in them? Yours truly. And they teach police across the country that Alex Jones basically wants you dead so that they can try to shut us down later, just like they blamed Oklahoma City on Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh had nothing to do with Oklahoma City, ladies and gentlemen. Talk radio and free speech had nothing to do with it. And that was a federal operation, just like Fast and Furious. Oh, how far we've come. You talk about this stuff 10 years ago, like Billy Corgan said around the dinner table, people would laugh at you if you talked about the New World Order and conspiracy. If you told them the Federal Reserve was private, they'd laugh at you. Now people don't laugh. They might not want to hear about it and say there's nothing we can do about it, but they know it's real. The globalists are losing the info war every month. We can keep them from not kicking off a civil war or a big, fat, juicy, false flag to blame on us. They're capable of anything. I want to get into North Korea threatening to blow up the White House, tied right into the movies that have been. Notice how what North Korea says dovetails with Hollywood, because both our authoritarian regime needs an outside threat to take freedom, and North Korea and Kim Jong-un, he likes Dennis Rodman coming to visit him. Do you think he likes movies being made about him? It's well known that this is propping North Korea up, and they love it. North Korea couldn't hack their way out of a 2 + 2 = 4 equation. They didn't attack. They didn't steal that info, and there's evidence to that now emerging, and they've denied it. But shot their mouths off more about how they'll blow up the whole U.S. It's not North Korea that disappeared nuke warheads out of Dyess Air Force Base last year. All right, Damien, go ahead and finish your point that you were getting into. Go ahead.
I'd like to directly reply to your media narrative, the leftist media narrative. Actually, to me, that's sort of the same thing as blaming the gun instead of the shooter. There are only two types of people where PSYOPs works most effectively. One is academically smart, and two is really dumb. Because academically smart, they understand they operate on a system. So if they believe the system, they think it works on behalf of them. So if they re-articulate it back, they think it's actually working on behalf of them. Stupid, obviously, you get confused. So the whole thing about this is the same thing as inciting a riot. I mean, the only person guilty is the person enacting it. However, the thoughts come into his head and, whatever the nature of his mind was before he got all this, media echo chamber, that's besides the issue. So this whole notion of, 20 years you've been articulating very eloquently how the system, the police state, the Federal Reserve, all these larger constructs are responsible. Well, the state is a fiction without, its actors and the commissars. And who are the enforcement class? It is the enforcement class. There's a reason why Will Grigg, who used to be with John Birch Society, left John Birch Society because of their constant stance on, their police, function fundraiser. I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys are raising money for the enforcer class. The politicians, the corporatists have no power without the enforcer class. So it's time to repeal the government, the notion of government police, not just repeal the Fed. You need to repeal that notion permanently. This is, you can't fix an occupation that perpetually, attracts the most psychotic of a society. There's like 10% that are always going to be psychopathic. And that's who it attracts for a reason, because they could. Well,
it is a historical fact that the uniform attracts psychopaths, control freaks. It also attracts good people. But yeah, a good 5–10% of police, I think is a conservative number, are deranged masochists who are on power trips. And those are the type that end up in many departments rising up to the ranks. Now, smart cities, smart counties want good, stable prosperity and won't put up with that. And so, I mean, I think it varies department to department. All I'm saying is, how do you deal with the paradox that we get a lot of great information from local police departments, a lot of great information, the military, because they're the ones in there doing it. They know how real this is a lot more than even I do. And so it's like a paradox. It's our problem, but it's also part of the solution. I know we've got a big, giant imperial military that they're trying to use against us, but shouldn't we then reach out to them and educate them about the larger plan instead of just saying they're the enemy? I mean, how do you navigate that? Because as Ron Paul said, it would take decades to wean us off of this and reform this. I'm saying we've come to the point now where they want to go ahead and start a civil war. So I get your larger point. I think you're absolutely right. But how do we get from here to there when the system isn't even looking at that? It's going to start a civil war. I'm just trying to stop that.
Well, Alice, you know how you always say, if you're not doing anything now, you're not going to do it when, crap hits the fan. Well, the same cops, they're the same. I mean, they're not doing anything about it now. So what makes you think they're going to suddenly change? History's at an entropy point. We're at that precipice. If they haven't done anything up to now, they certainly aren't going to do anything when it happens. And by then, they'll just be, too busy taking care of their own. So we're on the same boat. The system's failing. They're just they're like the last phase of an existing system that's going to go away. So I don't see the point in fixing them or reforming them. I mean, they're all listening to you because they already realized something's up anyway. So I don't see the point in reforming. They've been tuning into you anyway. And these are the same guys giving you the information, and you've been talking the exact same way anyway. So there's no point in reforming them. They need to come to our side, and it's gonna happen anyway because history's on that trajectory.
An amazing call, Damien. Wow, he really laid it out, didn't he? The system is designed to fail. And they plan to end the crisis, bring in a total police state. I'm trying to stop the vicious crash landing. I want a controlled, sustainable, survivable landing. There have been so many revolutions of ideas that have succeeded and been nonviolent. But they're not called revolutions. They're called renaissance. And so I want a renaissance, not a revolution. And I think if we get past the dumbed down, you're either 100% for the cops and always back them or kill them. And that's what it's turned into. You either are for killing the police and burning down the police station, or you are for backing them no matter what they do. How about we back a constitutional role? How about we promote a culture of liberty? How about we explain the larger New World Order plan to get us at each other's throats and short-circuit it? Then we can try to fix things. But yes, they've signed us on to 1,000 of the 2,000 quadrillion, or a little more than half of it. It's not our debt. It's not sustainable. We're going down. Every major economist says it's inevitable. But the question is, how will it unfold? How will the house of cards fall? So I just don't have any macho desire for this to turn into a big nasty mess, because I don't plan to try to run off to Switzerland and sit it out. But maybe I should, like Frank Serpico, just go, man, you people just kill each other. I'm out of here, man. It's so stupid. And it's a plan, and they've got us marching towards each other. And then the media has me at the head of it in some plan to kill the police. Imagine that. Why do they want to shut me up and demonize me? Because I've got their number. I know the plan. You think the establishment likes the fact I'm up here laying out their plan every day? Very accurately? I'm not on a power trip knowing all this stuff. I wish everybody else knew it. I wish we could beat this right now. I'm going to go to break and come back with Daniel. And then Jan, Tom, Alex, and others right into the next hour. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Daniel, Jan, Tom, and Alex in these next two little segments. At 8 after, I will get into North Korea. Saudi oil chief, no conspiracy behind oil prices. That's ridiculous. Fox investigation, CDC may be hiding Ebola cases. Gun control advocate urges kids to inform on their parents. I'll cover all of that coming up after calls and then continue calls in the next hour. And then Dr. Steve Pachinik just pops in for a couple segments because he grew up in Cuba, then was in Russia, I guess. Very interesting history with that guy. And I guess he's going to give us his take on Cuba and moves to unilaterally start normalizing relations and his take on Fidel Castro and so much more. He'll pop in the last 30 minutes today. Briefly, we have sold more than half of the limited edition 500 Molon Labe coins. They are minted right here in America. They're the highest grade stamping. They come in a collector's case, and you get a 1776 lapel pin with it. These cost us, because of the quality and the grade and the packaging, like $49 a piece. And then we mark them up. You help support the broadcast getting them. This is just something to support the InfoWar and to hand down to friends and family. It says made in 1776, Infowars.com on the back. Molon Labe on the front. You can see Leanne McAdoo there holding it. Infowarsstore.com or madein1776.com or 888-253-3139. We also have, for half the price of the coin, the bronze and bronze nickeled Molon Labe 50 cal belt buckles, and more than half of those have sold out. If you want to get them, we also have the M16 Molon Labe that I think is my favorite. But it's a great conversation piece. It's a great gift. They're made in America, and they're available at madein1776.com, Infowarsstore.com, or 888-253-3139. And it's not too late to get that late Christmas shopping done. $5.95 a monthly membership, or you get about half off getting a yearly membership. It's 12 cents a person because 20 people can use each membership. That's an easy way to just give people e-gifts. Hey, here's your membership to a subscription film news site. It's underground, Infowars.com, InfowarsNews.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. We see epic promotion of racial division, of attacking the police by the very establishment media that has supported the police warping and mutating, in many cases, into what they are today. And it's a kind of night of the long knives. After Hitler took power, he purged the paramilitary police force, the SA, that had brought him to power. Killed tens of thousands of them in one night. And their leader, Ernst Röhm, Hitler's boyfriend. And that's where the police and military are going if they go along with this treason. History is very, very clear. Daniel in Texas, can we stop the Civil War? No one's really answered my question on that front other than the last caller, Damien. He gave a very eloquent breakdown of that. Everybody just has stories about the police and how horrible they are. We don't screen your calls. We're just taking them as they come. This is what the public thinks. And it just shocked me that when the cops got shot, people were standing around going, yay, yay. Even if you hated the police, you shouldn't support that. And it shows kind of the soft disconnection to reality. Even if you hated someone, you wouldn't be celebrating them dying. It's bad luck. I'm here to tell you. The cops get run over in Denver. People cheer it. So, I mean, even if the police are demons in New York, which I don't think you can say that across the board, you've now turned into that as well. I mean, it's sick to see us being played off against each other. That's all I'm saying. This is not how we build civilizations. Daniel in Texas, go ahead. What's your take on all this?
Oh, Alex, long-time listener, first-time caller, thank you so much for all you do. And, my heart hurts for this country. It's a spiritual and physical hurt. When I read about that news on Saturday, I mean, it made me want to cry. And just like you said, in no way, form, or fashion should those cops' death be celebrated by anybody in this country. We've got a huge moral and spiritual battle going on in this country. You keep on asking what it's going to take. And, you know, I kind of like the approach to the civil rights movement. I think it's what it's going to have to take: a massive media campaign, broadcast meetings. We've got to get this police state situation taken care of. You know, the old man being slammed to the ground the other day by the young police officer. There's no way in the world anybody can justify that unless that man brandished a weapon. I don't get what it's going to take. I mean, why do people like me and you and your listeners care so much and others don't, Alex? Why is that?
It's because they're watching television all day and just partying, and even if it happens to them, their neighbor doesn't care. They don't care about their neighbor. We're such a self-centered country that it has allowed corruption to grow.
Well, you know, I will tell you this, Alex. I recently, 5 years ago, became a musician, and it wasn't until I got into music that my mind started to open, and I started realizing I really enjoy your Billy Corgan interviews. They're awesome. I love that guy. And the spiritual aspect of music, I say this all the time, be it good or bad, far outweighs its entertainment value.
It's because they're raised in front of television sets, the proto-matrix, and they're spectators. They don't know how to stand up. They think it's work. They don't get that it's like breathing. It's life. Third hour coming up. Great caller. Stay with us. Jan, Terry, Alex, Cindy, you're up next. In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.